We got to deal with some true crime here. Lori Vallow, known as the Doomsday Mom, accused of killing her 2 kids after joining a cult. Probably the most reviled mom in America since, Casey Anthony. All eyes will be on Idaho once again when jury selection starts Monday. Let's bring back Dave Aronberg and Mark Geragos and add to the team jury consultant Susan Constantine. It's great to have all of you here. Now, interestingly, Susan, I'm going to start with you on this one. Taking the death penalty off the table, which happened, how does that change who you're looking for in a jury for both sides?
Well, it doesn't really change it much, although in a death penalty case, as Mark Geragos would agree, is that those are already predisposed for, they could render a verdict of guilty in the death penalty. They're already predisposed for that. So they tend to be a little bit more authoritarian than when you're picking a normal case, a jury case. But in this particular case here, what I'm looking for is still authoritarians for the state. I'm looking more for egalitarians that are for the defense. And, when you look at demographic profiling, I do use it, but I don't necessarily depend on it. So what I'm looking for are really characteristics about their past, how they're bringing it forward, things that they do in their normal life, how they think and how they process information, what are the social medias or the books and other television programs that they're watching. Gives me insight into what they're thinking and feeling that will help me to determine who this person is and whether they're going to be a good fit for either the state or for the defense.
Dave, from the media perspective, it's all about the crazy sauce, right? It's all about the cult and that she was saying these things about being possessed and demon seed and all this. But I was looking at one of the submissions for what they're going to want jurors informed about that was submitted by the prosecution. And there was a layer of this that I wasn't aware of before. Maybe you guys were. But prosecutors are going to make the case that one of the things that indicates that Lori Vallow meant to do harm to her kids was that she changed the deposit Social Security benefits that one of her kids was getting. Tylee Ryan, Social Security benefits, changed from their kid's account to her own account, and then kept trying to take the kid's money after the kid was missing and putting it in a different account. Now, obviously, this is a murder case, but what does that mean to a prosecution that they're going to try to show that she was playing with Social Security and trying to take money from her own kid?
Chris, it shows intent. It shows planning, and it shows that if she inevitably tries to point the finger at Chad Daybell, that she was an active participant. She was not some damsel in distress who took orders from the cult leader. She was there as an active part of killing her kids, and you can tell because then she reaped the financial reward from it. So this all goes to intent. This would have helped also if the death penalty was on the table, and I agree that by taking it off the table, it hurts the prosecutors in the short run because the jurors are not going to be death penalty qualified. That's a better jury pool for us prosecutors when they're willing to give someone like this a death penalty. But in the long run, it's actually going to be good for prosecutors because it will help ensure that this ultimate guilty verdict will remain a guilty verdict on appeal.
Mark, something that is about Chad, not about Chad Daybell, not Lori Vallow, but is interesting that I saw in the same document, that they are, the prosecutors are highlighting the fact that he searched about the effects of a south-southwest wind on his property. How do you deal with that as the defense when they're like, why were you Googling what a south-southwest wind would do, except, and then they're going to put up this thing of where his property is, that is the wind that would affect anything that's coming from where the bodies were buried?
Well, look, I've had this in these cases, and I know that it sounds great, at least on paper or when you put it up on the screen. Until you get into the courtroom and you've got the computer analyst there and you can really do some cross-examination, then I'll let you know whether or not it's significant. A lot of times what I've found is that the things they claim that somebody was searching for weren't in fact something they were searching for, but merely one of the steps along the lines of where they ultimately were going. I could get into it, but you'll see that in cross. So I'm not so sure. It also reminds me, you know, the previous example you gave of the Social Security benefits. Yeah, that looks bad. However, I've had cases where they said the client's accused of getting insurance or changing the insurance or doing something like that. If it turns out there's an innocent and a convincing explanation, that can be something you turn on the prosecutor and keep beating them over the head like a baby seal with, because that is going to be something where they invested in that and then it turns out it wasn't what they claimed it was, and they lose credibility.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.